Ladies and gents, I do a lot of low elo legends, but I don't really have a series dedicated for the mid elo ranks, right? But I have said it before, mid elo maniacs, maybe it's maestros, maybe it's... Why did the next word that came to my mind, why was it mom? I don't know. Again, it's not a playlist, but I want to integrate more of the middle ranks into my casting here. And so we've got Arabia, a map that, you know, if you're at 1100 elo, you probably played a decent amount. And we have two civilizations here, which are great on Arabia. So in the red, we have Esteves playing as the Magyars. In the blue, we have, is it Vink? Or is it Vince without an E? We're going to say Vink playing as the Mongols. Mongols have the hunt bonus, so their deer, which blue's already pushing in now, and their boars bring them lots of food, which gives them fast up times to Feudal Age, can give them a lot of food for the scouts. And then the Magyars have the cheaper scouts and the forging upgrade. So whatever you want to call the series, I don't know. But this is at a level where we're going to see a lot more aggression and potential like chaos. So it's very hard to get to 1100 elo, right? You're above average to be here, and a lot of people work very hard to get here. But this is how I see this rank, okay? Correct me if you feel I'm wrong, but this is how I see it. So, you know, to start, you've got like the low elo. Where low elo, half the battle is having a plan, right? A lot of low elo players don't have a plan. Their plan is to not have a plan and hope they don't get attacked, and then, oh, that looks pretty cool, and then, oh, let's do that. That's kind of the spice of low elo. A big part of getting to mid elo is having a good plan, right? Going in with the intent to do one thing in particular. But I say where mid elo can struggle, like mid elo can do a great job if they have a plan, but my favorite games at mid elo are when plans fall apart, right? And I can guarantee you plans are going to fall apart for one of these players, maybe both. And that's when these games can become absolute grinds and a whole lot of fun. So we'll see how things go. Blue is very intent on scouting the very back of the map right now. And blue has brought in the boar so far. 3 on wood. Looks pretty good for the build. Bringing in the boar underneath the TC. Not bad. Red also bringing in the food right now. And has moved out to scout the enemy. So we'll see how it goes. I do like some of the small things that red has done so far with the two houses here. Might not seem like a lot, but this is red showing a plan to eventually wall up. Maps are pretty brutal for both of them, though. For blue, the golds are forward. I actually prefer blue's map, though, because there's so much wood and the berries on the back, whereas the berries forward and, you know, just the 2 wood lines versus, like, the 3 that blue has could be a bit more awkward for the scouts. So I do want to say as well, this does not mean for my low elo cap. 15 pop? What? 15 pop for blue? What? This is super fast. Okay. I mean, I don't think blue's going to be able to really make that much. But blue's going up quick. But yeah, I do want to add that, like, you know, I know a lot of people are 1000 elo and above. Also, great opportunity to ask questions, right? If you end up having them. Low elo, it's the same, but, you know, things are a little bit pacier here, so just don't hesitate. All right, so immediately, I'm going to tell you the downside of 15 pop, right? If you don't get damage in, your eco's a disaster, right? That's the best way to simplify the situation. Also, I don't think it's that realistic to get eco upgrades with this, so you probably should be skipping that. You're basically rushing a timing where you can maybe produce a scout or 2. We'll see how much damage can be done there. Okay, and, you know, now we're going to have walls. So blue is going to rush, is going for an insanely fast uptime, but now is spending wood on walls. It doesn't have the wood for the staples, so I think blue is, like, caught between 2 thinkings right now. Has arrived to the feudal age. Red is probably like, huh? What? And there's the stable for blue. Let's see how things flow here. See how many scouts can be produced. Red, 21 pop. This is more of a standard build. This is bringing a weak villager to the wood line. He's looking around as blue arrives, is looking for the enemy right now. And, oh boy. Is red accusing blue of having a friend spec cheat right now? Because there is a spectator, guys. Someone translate, please. Red says, tenemos dos espectadores. 2 spectators. Cool. I think that is red implying you have someone feeding you information. But okay, so not implying, just saying we have spectators. Cool. That could also be a very... That could be not accusing, blue. Your friend? Question mark? No. Hey, I'm your friend. What are you trying to say? All right, so we are famous? Question mark? Okay, he's just saying hi. Wow. Well, Steve, we'll see how you micro against these scouts to see how famous you can get. Blue says 11, and here we go. All right, so they realize they've got spectators. It definitely adds to the nerves of the situation. And those scouts came pretty fast for blue. Now, like we said before, blue's going to... Eventually, you just run out of this. And that's kind of the end of it, right, with this type of build. But honestly, pretty fast and pretty well executed from blue so far. Red, maybe calling mom over. Say, Mom, we're famous. And blue, over here. Red does have the spearman on the berries. Maybe needs to relocate the spearman over here. Blue over here. And Steve under pressure! Or Estevez with some stellar quick walling. Dang. Very well played. Scouts are cheap for the Magyars. Red could make some scouts as well. All right. So that's pretty much the end of the scout rush for the time being. In terms of new scouts, most likely for blue. We'll see how many blue creates. Red has made a ton of spearmen. Has 4 spearmen with 2 more on the way. And you're already seeing like how difficult the game is with balance, right? Just 1 on the lumber camp, a bunch underneath here. Because red is trying to micro these scouts, but everywhere red goes, there is a spearman. Farms are going to be needed for both in an ideal world on the back of this. That's going to start up for red, it seems, eventually. Especially because red's going to finish the berries soon. And blue is going for some walls. So I think blue... I mean, it's actually a pretty solid strat. It's like, you get fast scouts... Ideally, you kill villagers, but if you don't, then by the time they come to your base, you're walled. So that's kind of the thinking. The balance is definitely a bit wacky for these guys. A bit of things I would say that are not part of the plan. But they're still dealing with their new fame right now, and that's a lot of pressure to deal with. They weren't expecting that there would be spectators, and apparently there's 2. How many people are spectating this match right now? Who's casting along with me? Should I have a co-caster right now? All right, villagers on the straggler trees, and then you pull them off the straggler trees to farms. That's what you want with the scout build. Nice. And my goodness, this is, I guess, a similar thing needed for blue here to maybe make some farms around the mill. But let's show, I want to see res collected. I'm actually very curious. Okay, so I was expecting it to actually be a little bit better for red than it was, but res collected a bit higher because of not going up quite as quickly. What is that? Why? 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 Okay, the spearman just tried to go outside the walls, I suppose, and is very uncertain. He's like, I should attack, I shouldn't attack, I should attack, it's scary, I should attack, I want to attack, no I don't, you know. Lots of farmy eco here. So both of these players have great civilizations to switch into cav archers with next. And it feels very natural too, because you kind of want to save food now. And you start to bank up some wood after you get to the proper number of farms. You're looking at roughly 13 to 15 farms is what you want to head up towards Castle Age in a healthy position. And that's where red is right now. The blue getting up to 12. But blue didn't make any spearmen. If red would have moved out, maybe red could have done some damage. Doesn't look like it, though. And we'll see how it goes. Classic. Matroid says, where do you find these 1100 games, and why didn't I find them when I was 1100 myself? Well, Matt, here's the thinking. You don't have anyone chilling out, watching your games, and seeing your every move. You are in the moment. You are in the heat of the battle, and you're moving as fast as you can, and you think and you feel like you would destroy these two. But the reality is, this game is very difficult, and it's easy to simplify it when you're just watching it. So, I think it would be, and it's usually the case, is like, there's a lot of variety out there, and these guys are playing a lot better than sometimes the spectating might show. You know? Also, consistency's tough, right? How many people with a show of ones in my Twitch chat feel like a god some days, where you just can't be stopped, and you're like, oh my god, this is how it feels to be a pro? Sheesh. And then other days, you lose every game, you miss micro everything, and life is very difficult, and you're like, I hate this. I would be typing one on my own chat, by the way, if I could. And I'm a little bit above 1100 elo. All right, so transitions, right? Transitions are tricky. So, like, red could maybe look to see what blue's doing. But red is not showing a sign to me that there's going to be a transition into anything here. Now, red didn't get any Feudal Age Eco upgrades. So as you're on your way to the next stage, I would suggest looking at double-checking on that. And blue even going for a double layer of palisade walls. And is run forward to attack the enemy gate, probably assuming the enemy's completely walled. We know the enemy's not completely walled. Spearmen are here. Blue pulls away. Nice micro. Hey, T90, what was your favorite civ when you were low elo? Huns? And... it depends, I guess. Huns, Mongols, and Spanish, but I didn't play Mongols on Arabia. I just played Huns on Arabia. So yeah. Again, tips are important here. As you're on the way to the next stage, just check eco upgrades. You should be getting gold mining, you should be getting wood, you should be getting farm, if not already. No archer ranges for blue. Just one stable for blue. Blue getting bloodlines and forging, which would apply to the scouts or any other stable unit. So, we might see some step lancers, maybe some camels or something. But both players are set up to add more TCs. And if there's one thing I know about mid-elo, is players are good enough to prevent themselves from being broken. And so they're usually going to need to rely on some eco, just like the higher ranks. Still no eco upgrades for red, which is a worrying sign. But double stable knights on the way. Blue's gold is pretty exposed, so maybe an area that red could focus on. I did play Huns a lot in the Voobly days, but I also preferred Huns before Voobly. Huns are just really smooth, and they're really fun to play, and building houses when you're learning the game is actually really annoying. So that was a big part of it for me. I also really like the Tarkin, back when it thumped, you know, before the devs removed that, which they still haven't fixed. And, you know, it was just a good time. So blue may be expecting the knights here is going to make some camels. Pretty smart pickup. Knights are going to run directly here. Blue also dropping a TC here. Now that will allow knights and camels everything to run in and out, but you'd have to go underneath the TC to do so. Red just chasing the scouts for the time being. And just passing there from the starting scout from red, which is just scouting the map. Red on 2 TCs, but no Feudal Age Eco upgrades is a worrying sign. It's for so many different reasons. Not having the wood upgrade means you're not bringing near as much wood. But then it's like you're spending more wood to reseed farms because you don't have horse collar. I like the army a bit more from red too. The pikeman knight combination is really smart. Kind of hard to break blue right now though. And blue's going to go over to stone. Blue might be thinking about Mangadai. T90, can we call this series the mid-elo Mad Lads? I like mid-elo Maniacs because I've said it before. And oh, red's like, I'm in. He's such a noob. I'm out. I like that. Nice job from red to realize, because that could have been a trap. You gotta pull out of here if you can, and that knight goes down. Nice job from blue as well, to have the camels waiting. Look at the idle TC time from red. Oh my goodness. 1 minute? And because of having more villagers, still has more res collected. If blue had just a couple eco upgrades, or sorry, if red had just a couple eco upgrades, things would be looking a whole lot better. I'm kind of liking the progression of this game, though, with the way the army plays out. We had scouts, so then we saw spears. Then it goes into knights, and now blue goes into camels. The red just upgrades the spears into pikemen to push the camels, and blue, most likely thinking about going into Mangadai. I noticed while blue produces villagers, blue has really big problems with the economy becoming really imbalanced, usually with pulling villagers off of wood. Look at how many villagers are on wood right now for blue. And that's something that takes practice. You should always be looking at how many you have on each resource. And maybe blue's doing that now, and the camels are getting poke. And most of those camels almost go down, and now you're like, oh crap. That's a lot of pikes, and with Magyars you get the attack, right? So, not too bad. I wonder if maybe we'll see a forward castle here from red. Right on that gold? Oh, would be so good. That's such a good map for a forward castle. But it's such a risky play as well. Do you think Estevez is a risk taker, viewers? I don't think so. Ooh, that is like... That's like dipping your toes in the water, at least. You know, some people won't even do that if they think it's cold. But at least he's given it a shot. Honestly, you win the game if you castle that gold here. But that still secures a stone and still secures a gold without taking too much of a risk. And these pikemen that we're here to protect now have to go home. Blue, I'm pretty certain there's a hole here. Right here. So let's see if red panics a little bit. Pikes are still on the way. Blue does not see this castle. That castle will likely go up. And blue is going to break through, look for a raid, doesn't see the enemy, thinks there's opportunities here, and sees pikemen and backs away. That is a lot of pointy boys. And there is a hole here, right? Oh, God! There's a hole in the camels now. Oh, shoot. Camel raid. All right, well, villagers will go down. First vill kills of the game. Still no eco upgrades for red at all. Red got that castle up, and red is going to steal some of that stone as well. Red has collected a lot of stone and made a lot of pikemen, and blue is going to lose a lot of camels here. Sheesh. But is using the mobility nicely. Like, red's army isn't doing anything else because of this. This is smart from red, though. Red did close this gap, and blue can't find a way out. Oh! Oh, this is funny. This is great. Oh, geez. You can't make it up. So, blue is microing the camels, and red is microing the pointy boys. Red is a castle and doesn't see blue's castle. Blue is a castle and doesn't see red's castle. Again, if the castle went up forward there, I think it's game over. There's no way, like, it would be too difficult for blue. But there's actually a game now. And red is so scared about these freaking camels. And so focused on this, red's eco isn't that good. Blue's microing, like, this is a great example of keeping your opponent busy. Blue still doesn't see that. Still doesn't see that, but blue could go up to the Imperial Age as these camels just, whoop, just continue to run around. Dang. Now, I think fletching will help. That's so funny, man. A quick wall is needed from red here. Red said, and I quote, "Are we famous?" And blue is probably thinking, yeah, for not being able to kill my camels, bro. Nice job from blue. Salutes for blue. Great damage with camels of all things. Red, though, also, I mean, defended well from it. And now is on the way to the Imperial Age. And now see blue has a castle here. And blue's camels are escaping? What? They get to escape after this? Dang. Look at the movement from blue. Like, red's got so many pikes, but he's got to click them all around. So yeah, pikes are great against cav, but if you can use mobility well, you could avoid the pikemen. Sad camel noises, though. Blue's on the way to the Imperial Age, as is red. Blue's making Mangudai, which is the go-to unit if your opponent has gone primarily pikeman. Blue also could soon make another castle. I'd like to see from blue right now, who finds out about that castle from red, is another castle somewhere to protect the rest of the map. Wouldn't mind if you feel you have the army to delete these walls and place it here. You got to keep your castles up here for your Mongols. Bodkin Arrow would be great to benefit the Mangudai. Red still hasn't researched a single eco upgrade. Maybe Red doesn't know about eco upgrades. Red's played really good otherwise. Like, Red's collected's been really nice, I'm sure. Blue's collected more now, though, because some of those upgrades have kicked in. What would be the right thing for Red to do here? This castle really hurt Red. So, like, the right play for Red against Mongols is double castle on the front to go Trebs and take Mangudai out of the equation. It wasn't the pikes at home, but it was this castle that really have hurt Red here. Now, I think you still go Trebor, but you ideally go into some ranged units behind it. I wouldn't mind Cav Archers here. Magyar Cav Archers are still really good. It's pretty easy to mass them. First thing you do is you make a Treb. That's what's happening. And the downside for blue is blue's going to be making a stone wall in the bottom corner. But yeah, blue is going to be forced to make Trebs instead of Mangudai right now, which is a really nice thing if you go into a Treb war against Mongols. I think blue maybe just is... Blue. My only explanation is blue's a flat earther and thinks that you can fall off the edge of the map. That's my only explanation. But no, obviously, blue's in the moment, right? Sees darkness, is worried about being raided, and just doesn't realize how silly that looks. I don't hate Cavalier because you killed all the camels. I actually don't hate Cavalier here from red. Also, it seems like red, you have to play towards your comforts. So it seems like red is really comfortable with Cav and Pike. So I actually think this is fine. Blue's going to have to micro really well. Red's going to hold this castle up with some repairs. Totally worth it. And blue is struggling now because of the pressure of that castle. Mangudai take a long time to produce, and blue is forced to go into Trebs. So this is really tough. This is why a lot of pros will go Cav Archers instead of Mangudai these days, because they could prevent... Like, they could have defended a bit more in the middle of the game. So a castle like this could have never happened. But that castle for blue most likely going to go down. And maybe blue needs to plan on life without Mangudai and maybe drop ranges to go Cav Archers. Red could have won the game probably with a castle further forward. But still has this castle up. And now you can effectively use these Trebs against Blue's Treb and keep your castle up. Now, armor upgrades need to come in for the Cavalier. Mangudai upgrades need to get attack. But you see Blue's movement. It's pretty. It's sexy. It gets you excited. That is where Blue is looking. If you're going Cav and Halb, you can look away during these moments and go back and produce more. This is because you've got the castle, because your opponent can't produce more Mangudai, it's okay to take these fights. You just keep pushing, keep pressuring, keep expanding that eco behind. And blue might just call it here if this pressure continues. Pretty crazy how well red is done with no eco upgrades. I mean, there's a lot of different games out there that handle things like economy a bit differently. So it is possible that red maybe doesn't know about any eco upgrades. Like, it's one thing to get it late, because then it makes me think, oh, he just forgot, which is common. But we're talking 0. No wheelbarrow, no double bit axe, no horse collar. And blue did make this castle very safely in the back, but is making Trebs with it right now. And again, it's just going to have to micro these Mangudai, and that's about it. I think red's defense, I think red's like TCs, red's army production, everything was really impressive this game. With eco upgrades, red, like, let's assume red doesn't get eco upgrades all the other games, red would be 200 elo higher. Maybe that's too much. I don't know. But that is really impressive. And GG's called. Dang. Maybe Red saw too many Nikov games. Well, Red pulled up clutch here, guys. Red saw there were spectators and said, "We are famous?" ? And under that pressure, not knowing who it was, probably thought it was a bug, ended up getting the job done. Impressive. The theme for Blue is like, Blue is a player, it actually is perfect as far as the Civ matchup is concerned as well. But Blue seems like a player who thrives through peaks, right? Like, the early scouts, they kill a couple villagers, that's great. The early walls, they prevent attacks. But there wasn't a lot of balance for Blue. Villagers were getting pulled all around. There wasn't a ton of army in the mid game. Really tricky, but I think maybe Blue just made a few too many camels. And maybe needed to plan about the castle in a better position. Could possibly have played in towards Cav Archers as well, but I think it is like way easier to play Cav, like play Knights, than it is to play anything Archer at this rank. I mean, that's my preference as well at high elo. Now, playing into Knights is like one of the worst things at high elo, but still, it's like easier I'm more of like a boom and Knight player, so that could just be a player preference for me as well, so. Arc says Blue had so many resources to put down ranges or anything. Not really. I think, well, you're right, but like, think about it, right? Like, at this point, once this castle's down, even if the ranges start to come up, this castle still probably gets trapped. You still lose the whole front of your base. At this point, while Blue does have more resources, and it's super easy for people to say he should be spending it, I'm not necessarily sure that if you start to spend it right here, it's necessarily going to be easy. But, you know, it's the pressure of the situation, but you are right. He did actually have a ton of wood. But, like, gold income is non-existent at this point, and I think even the gold would disappear pretty quickly. Yeah, exactly. Archers, you have to babysit the whole time. Camels, you have to babysit the whole time, because camels are pretty much only good against Cav. And Red played very well. My advice to you, Red, though, is, like, if you're going to go forward castle, guys, go forward castle. There's certain pros that are really good at that, like Yo, for example. Try and recognize, do you have the army to drop the castle? And if you do, place it. And if you're trying to get better, place a couple castles that get denied. Doubt does it all the time, and he's been playing the game for 25 years. You'll learn eventually, unless your name is Doubt, that, oh, I can place this castle forward. Or, oh, okay, this situation isn't for a forward castle. You'll figure that out. I think this castle could have potentially given Blue a way back into the game. But GG, it was a fun one. Without any eco upgrades, knowing there were spectators, Red collected more resources that game. Very impressive. And GG.